Good evening, and welcome to Spelman College's third virtual town hall for the summer of 2021. I'm Mary Schmidt-Campbell, and I have the great privilege of being the 10th president of Spelman College, and I'm so pleased to be with you this evening. I bring you greetings from Big Sky, Montana, where I'm still enjoying the last few days of vacation, but I will tell you, I cannot wait to get back to Atlanta and to the campus of Spelman College and greet all of our first year students and all of our returning students next week. Welcome. How's everybody doing this evening? Let me hear from you in the chat. Just let me know how you're doing. I see one already that says, hello, Dr. Campbell, it's great seeing you. Well, it's great seeing you too. So just let me know how you're doing. This evening, we are welcoming over 1,000 registrants who have signed up to participate in this, our third summer town hall. As everyone is entering the town hall, I want to share with you some exciting news about the Spelman community. First of all, I want to tell you that in this age of public health concerns, I am so pleased to report that Spelman College has just entered into a new academic partnership with the University of Michigan. Through this partnership, we'll be able to offer our students the opportunity to get a Spelman undergraduate degree and a master's degree and master's of science degree in a number of public health disciplines from the University of Michigan in the space of 5 years. Thank you so much, Dr. Rosalind Bass, for your ability to win this partnership for us. As a result of it, our students will be able to get, in 5 years, a master's degree in the fields of biostatistics, environmental health, and nutrition. This is a great addition to an already exciting slate of programs at Spelman. Also, while we're waiting for everybody to come in this evening, share another piece of good news with you. And that is that Spelman College is very pleased to announce that Dr. Liz Andrews will be joining us as the new director of the Spelman College Museum of Fine Art. So let us extend a warm word of welcome to Dr. Andrews. She comes to us as a scholar, curator, and a teacher, coming to us from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. And if you'd like to have a sneak preview to get acquainted with Dr. Andrews, you can listen to her tomorrow at the Yale Center for British Art, where she will be in conversation on the topic of the politics of portraiture. And you can register for the symposium at britishart.yale.edu. So we all give you a big, warm welcome, Dr. Andrews. So I see now we have almost 500 people who have entered tonight's town hall. So let's get started with tonight's presentation. So let's have the first slide. Thank you. Our topic tonight is what to expect when Spelman College returns to campus. We have 3 topics that we are going to be focusing on this evening. The first are our guiding principles, just as a reminder to share with you how we have thought about organizing ourselves according to these 3 guiding principles that we have been following for the past 18 months. The second topic is to review with you a summary of the Atlanta University Center protocols. Spelman has not developed these protocols on its own. We've developed them in close conversation with every single one of the other 3 campuses that make up the Atlanta University Center Consortium. We'll also want to share with you some of the physical improvements that we've made around campus to help keep our campus safe and to help keep you safe and healthy. Before I begin, let me just review with you a few housekeeping details. Tonight, our town hall is 45 minutes. It extends from 5 o'clock to 5:45 Eastern Time. For your convenience, the town hall is recorded and will be posted later this week on spelman.edu. So if you missed any part of it, or you've come in after we've covered a topic that you're interested in, you can always go back to spelman.edu and just play the whole session back. Now, we invite you to ask questions during the session, and if I can direct you to the Q&A, if you can begin to ask your questions in the Q&A. In the course of the town hall, I will answer questions, and we should have some time left over for questions after the presentation. We've also received a few questions in advance, and we'll try to answer as many of those as possible. But I think, as you know, we never get around to answering all the questions that have been submitted. So we collect all those questions, we get our team of experts to respond to them, and we put them up on our website in the form of FAQs. Next slide. Tonight, I have some members of my senior leadership team, not the entire team. We still have a few people who are on vacation. And I'd like to especially welcome some guests this evening, Dr. Dolores Bradley Brennan, our Vice Provost for Faculty, and also welcome Dana Lloyd, who is our Director of Health Services, and also Desiree Pettisclo, who is our Dean, Dr. Desiree Pettisclo, who's our Dean of Undergraduate Studies, who's joining our senior team this evening. Thank you to all of you. Next slide. So let's go back over our guiding principles. We have been in a global pandemic for the past 18 months. And as we have gone through that, as we have had to move students off campus to remote learning, as we have had to provide training to our faculty and our students for a new teaching and learning environment, as we have had to compile resources, technology resources, health and well-being resources, we have followed three guiding principles. The first is that all of our decision-making will be based first and foremost on the health and well-being of our students, our faculty, and our staff. The second principle that has guided our decision-making, and when I say we, I'm talking about the 50-member task force that has been working over these past 18 months, chaired by our provost, Sharon Davies, and our CFO, Dawn Alston, and made up of faculty, staff, students, a trustee, alumni, who have really given real thought about how the college should function to maintain health and well-being, to maintain academic excellence, and our third guiding principle, to make sure that whatever decisions we make, we're ensuring the long-term fiscal sustainability of our college and supporting our students and our families as well. Next slide. So let me start with the health and well-being. And as I mentioned, we have developed the medical protocols that will be in place when you come back to campus starting next week. These are protocols that we developed in close conversation with the Atlanta University Center. We've had the great good fortune to have a medical center, Morehouse School of Medicine, and to have Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice, our COVID czar, Cara Garrettson, who have worked with us every step of the way to make sure that our protocols have been informed by the very latest science. You see a website up here, www.spelman.edu/AUCC-playbook. I invite you to go to that website because the entire playbook in great detail is listed there about all of the medical protocols that are in place. So let's take a look at what those are. We have a number of protocols, all of which are extremely important. And I really want to emphasize that. This is not just one thing that we're doing. What we have created is what I would call stackable protocols. By implementing every single one of these protocols, we lower the risk as low as possible. At the heart of our protocols is vaccination. And as you know, we have required mandatory vaccination. I'm very pleased to report that as of this week, 87% of our students have uploaded their proof of vaccination or have gotten an approved medical or religious exemption. So kudos to Spelman students. You're doing such a terrific job. And our goal is to get this to 100%. So great job, Spelman students. As of this week, we have 78% of our faculty and staff who have uploaded proof of vaccination or who have an approved medical or religious exemption. And I'm going to show you a few more statistics a little bit later on about why we have made vaccinations so central to our medical protocols. Now, in addition to that, for those faculty, staff, or students who are not unvaccinated, as I said, there are a few who have exemptions, we are requiring weekly testing. I should say that for the past 9 months, as a staff member at Spelman College, I've been tested on a weekly basis. It's very quick, it's very easy, and it's very reassuring to have the reassurance of a negative test. Even for those who are vaccinated, we are also going to do regular testing. That interval may change if, in fact, infection rates go up for any reason. We may test even vaccinated, those of us who are vaccinated more frequently. Why, you say, would you test if you're vaccinated? We now know that vaccinated people can also spread the infection as well. Masking. Masking is absolutely essential part of our protocols. The mask goes above the nose, covers the mouth, and is tight around the chin. One of the questions we got early on before the town hall got started is, do students have to bring their own mask? And the answer to that question is absolutely, because when you come onto campus, you are going to have to be masked. So please bring a mask with you, bring several masks with you, just like you're packing your socks or your sweaters, pack your mask. Now, when you get to campus, if for some reason you run out of masks, you lose a mask or whatever, we will have masking dispensers all over the campus so that disposable masks will be available, and we have masks in our bookstore. Hand hygiene continues to be very, very important. And we will have sanitizing stations around the campus, but you should really know that washing your hands is really the best way to make sure that you're keeping your hands clean. Wash your hands several times a day. And of course, we will maintain social distancing. So these are what we call the stackable protocols. We are going to be asking everybody to participate in all of these medical protocols. Next slide. Why did we mandate vaccinations? As you can see from this chart, the COVID deaths still are a risk. I won't say they're a high risk, but they are a risk. The infections, we are still experiencing a rise in infections of COVID, rise in hospitalizations for those who are infected, and a little uptick also in the deaths from COVID for those who are unvaccinated. For those who are vaccinated, it's negligible. So in fact, you can see this huge difference between the protection for those who are vaccinated and those who are non-vaccinated. Next slide. Let me show you another set of slides that gives you some sense of the efficacy of vaccinated individuals. What this slide shows is a number of states that have been logging their data and submitting it to the CDC. Unfortunately, Georgia is not represented in these numbers. But these are the percent of fully vaccinated individuals who have had any COVID breakthrough. And as you know, COVID is not 100, vaccination is not 100% effective. But as you can see from the percentages of those who have been infected by COVID, it's a tiny, tiny percentage in the state of Michigan, and I believe also in the state of Arkansas. Next slide. This slide is the percent of fully vaccinated individuals who have experienced a COVID breakthrough that has sent them to the hospital. And again, it is a tiny, tiny percentage of the total. Next slide. And these are the percentage of COVID cases of individuals that have experienced a COVID-19 breakthrough, who have had hospitalizations and deaths. And again, the percentages are very tiny. Next slide. One slide that's not on here, which I thought was going to be on here, is a slide about masking. Did we skip the slide about the masking protocols, Ingrid? Is there a slide?
No, we don't have that slide.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So let me go then to the physical improvements. As you know, there are improvements that we can make to the interiors of buildings to help make sure that, in fact, we have a much healthier interior environment. In addition to, before I get to those improvements, we have, as I said, mask dispensers all around the campus. You will see them at the entrance of buildings, inside of buildings, on almost every floor. So if in fact, somehow, some way your mask gets lost or damaged or what have you, you will have access to a disposable mask. There's signage that you will find when you walk on campus. You'll see signs on the floor of the dining hall that mark the distance between people. You will see it at the mail center. You will see it inside buildings where students or faculty or staff have to queue up for any particular function. You'll also find in many of our classroom buildings and in our un-air-conditioned residence halls, you'll see purifiers, big, bulky pieces of furniture that function by literally trapping the COVID virus and taking it out of the air. Many of them are equipped with HEPA filters, which also improves the quality of the air. But one of the most important things that we've done is with many of our buildings, we have rectified, or we have greatly improved the increase of the outdoor air take, so that fresh air is constantly circulating in the buildings. And as you know, in your own homes, if you open your doors, open your windows, and you have a circulation of fresh air, you lower the possibility for contamination. Also, we have in our buildings, we have increased the number of air filtration systems, so that again, if we have HEPA filters inside of the buildings in the air filtration. That also works to lower the possibility of the circulation of the virus inside the buildings. And we deliberately chose the photograph of Giles because there's been a lot of conversation about Giles being an old building and being a sick building. That is not the case. The picture that you're seeing here is a brand new air handling system that was installed at Giles. It will go along with the brand new elevators that are in Giles as well. But we went through the campus and we upgraded as many buildings as we possibly could. Next slide. So this slide really isn't about medical protocols, but it does speak to what you will find when you come back to campus. And what you will find when you come back to campus in October is you will find that Rockefeller Fine Arts will be under renovation. What you will find when you come back is many of your colleagues who were housed, or those faculty and staff who were housed in Rockefeller Fine Arts, have been relocated to sites all over the campus. And we thank everybody who participated in offering their colleagues space while the renovation was going on. This renovation will take anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And it will, as a result, we will have the LaTanya Richardson Jackson and Samuel L. Jackson Performing Arts Center. And we thank the two of them, as well as Hobson Lucas, Bank of America, and David Rockefeller Jr. for their very generous contributions in making this possible. I have a question. I have some questions that have come in, and I'm going to start to answer some of those questions. Since the Delta variant is more contagious, will students have the option to take class online? So this question speaks to why we have adopted these stackable medical protocols. We know that the vaccine does provide protection to the Delta variant. We're requiring masks indoors, outdoors, in classrooms, everywhere except your own private residence hall room and your own single occupancy office. And we believe the science tells us that with the vaccination, with the masking, and with the testing, periodic testing for those who are unvaccinated, those measures should afford us protection. Another question that has come in on campus living: when will commuter students be able to select meal plans for the upcoming school year? Now I'm going to turn to one of my colleagues and ask either Dr. Holloman or Dawn Alston to share with us our plans for meal plans for our commuter students. Dr. Holloman, do you want to take that question?
I can, yes. You should be able to apply for the meal plan prior to coming to campus. But there was a question in the chat that I need some help from Dawn Alston. It said that the link that was posted says that the plans need to be updated. So can you help me with that question?
Sure, we will get with Aramark, who actually updates that for us, and make sure that it's updated by next week.
Thank you. So I have some questions about how is mask wearing police? That's a great question. We don't have any mask police. We don't have any people who are specifically going around campus and policing those who are wearing masks or not. But what we are saying to our community, and I say this to you tonight, and I will say it at every opportunity when we're on campus. This is the essence of Spelman sisterhood. We have to take care of ourselves and we have to take care of each other. When we see, if we see somebody who doesn't have a mask, we can very cheerfully say, you know, mask, where's your mask? We can point people in the direction of a mask dispensary. We can offer them an extra mask if we have one. We really, as a community, have to embark on this as a way of thinking about taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other. Wearing the mask along with the vaccine, along with the testing, all of it. This is what's going to make us safe. We got through the spring semester with a less than 1% positivity rate because on campus, there was that spirit of everyone looking after each other. And so we're asking for that spirit once again for the fall semester. So on-campus living, another question that's come up, Dr. Holloman, will students be allowed to eat in the cafeteria?
Absolutely. We're very excited. I was in there today and there were 42 of our resident assistants who were already eating and socially distancing. And so, yes, our students will be able to eat in the cafeteria.
Thank you. So I'm going to put a pause on the questions now and return to the presentation. We have just a few more slides left. Let's go to the next slide. So our goal this semester, after our spring semester of having a very, very low density group of students, I think there were only about 230, all of our instruction was remote. This academic year, our goal is to bring back, to restore the residential liberal arts college experience. And to the best of our ability, restore that sense of relationship that students have with their faculty, their peers, with our incredible staff, and to be able to take part in the very rich menu of co-curricular programs and initiatives that we think are so vital to what it means to be a Spelman student. So that's our goal. Now, I've gotten some questions about how we are thinking about the restoration of our residential experience. So a question that came in early before the town hall was, are students going to be allowed to take courses off campus? The answer to that question is yes. If you are cross-registered for a course at Morehouse or Clark Atlanta, or in less frequently at Morehouse School of Medicine, certainly with the approval of your department and sign off of your department, you are allowed to participate in that cross-residential, cross-campus experience. In addition, Spelman participates in a program called ARCHE, A-R-C-H-E. And ARCHE permits you to take courses at some of our colleges here in Atlanta, like Georgia State, Agnes Scott, Emory. That program and permission to participate means that you have to go through Miss Helene Moon, who's in the office of the registrar. But yes, we are restoring that capacity for us to take advantage of the full menu of courses that are offered through cross-registration and through our participation in ARCHE. Next slide. Oh, before we go, please, can we go back? I'm sorry, can we go back one slide? I want to make one more comment, Ingrid. So if we could just go back one. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to, for the faculty who are here on this call, I want you to know that we are going to continue to be in conversation with you also about the your discretion that you have available in managing your classroom through a pandemic. And so I want to just say, I'm not going to answer, I won't answer any questions this evening, but I do want to say that we certainly intend to make sure that we have heard the full range of faculty voices and issues on this subject. So next slide. Thank you. So I want to end my presentation by sharing with you also the one-time federal student support that has just come our way. We just learned about the amount and also the way in which we can allocate these funds this week. So here I've listed some of the ways that Spelman College intends to deploy this support. Now, in our last town hall, I spoke about several different buckets of federal support. This is a new one. So this is completely new. We just got the grant award letter. So these are the things that we are going to be covering with these new, this new chunk of funding. For those commuter students, we are going to provide lift, ride credits. You already know, I've already announced that Spelman elected this year to roll its tuition and fees back to the 2017-2018 academic year. So we had a tuition and fee reset. There will be student emergency grants by application that will be available. And those grants can be used for the following purpose: for paying tuition and fees, for assisting with your transportation, for assisting with housing costs, food costs, childcare costs, or any expenses that you can document that are related to the disruption of COVID. And that will be by application. There also will be automatic student emergency grants and also an offset for the clearing of outstanding student balances. So I'm going to, having completed this presentation, I think we're at the Q&A. So I'm going to turn to the questions that have been sent to me. Dr. Holloman, I think I just saw that you made a comment in the chat. Would you like to share that comment?
There was a comment about when you could apply for the LIFT. The LIFT program has been reserved for our commuter students, and each commuter student has been emailed instructions of what to do. And I think at this time we have about 50 students who've already begun to send in their applications.
Thank you. So if you're a commuter student, make sure that if I'm a commuter student, how do I make application, Dr. Holloman?
There was a personal email sent to the commuter student population for this semester that's enrolled.
Great, thank you. So we have questions that have come in on-campus living. Will there be a quarantine period after move-in? And are you required to wear a mask in your room if you have a roommate? Dr. Holloman.
You are not required to wear a mask in your own personal living space. And there will not be, to this point, what we called in the spring a pause and prepare period, which was a quarantine spacing, which again, I want to reinforce, as Dr. Campbell has mentioned, the importance of us masking and being very vigilant about our masking while we're on campus.
Thank you. I see in the Q&A that a question has come out: can you take food out of the cafeteria? Not only can you take food out of the cafeteria, we actually encourage you to do that and to eat outdoors. Because in fact, if you sit down, there will be places in front of the BDT suites and other places where you will be able to sit down and have a meal outdoor. And it's quite a lovely way to enjoy your meal while the weather holds up. So yes, the answer to that is most definitely. And that certainly happened last spring semester. Question has come up, is there any monitoring of off-campus activities? Will students be held to a certain level of safe conduct while off campus? I'm going to answer that and then invite anybody else from the panel who wants to contribute. The fact of the matter is that we are in a large urban center, Atlanta. And when our students leave campus, what we rely on is that they take with them the values and the principles that we've instilled at Spelman College. We don't conduct any monitoring of students' activities or behaviors or practices once they leave campus, but we do rely on them to take their good judgment and their sense of the health and safety protocols that we will be reviewing with them when they come on campus and periodically when they leave campus. And so we invite all of you, all of the parents, I know there are many parents, I think there are over 400 parents on this call, to please share that with your students, that they have a responsibility for their health and well-being when they leave campus. Is there anything that our colleagues from our panel want to add to that? Great. On-campus housing, will there be visitation allowed?
We will follow our standards of pre-COVID, where visitation will be allowed. I believe it's about the mid of September, maybe towards the end of September this year as we monitor the Delta variant. But yes, you will be allowed to have visitation in the residence hall towards the end of September.
So how will students know which classes are offered virtually as opposed to face-to-face? Dr. Bradley Brennan, do you want to take that question that came in?
Yes, so all of the students who have been granted a waiver for in-person classes should have been notified, and they're in any courses that they were enrolled in, those faculty have determined whether or not they are able to meet that accommodation. And I know that the Dean of Undergraduate Studies is also involved in this, and so I will ask Dean Pettisclo to add anything to that.
Dean P?
Thank you. Dr. Bradley Brennan is correct. The students have been notified, the faculty have been notified. If a faculty chooses not to teach online, then we will help the student find another course that will fit into their schedule and fulfill whatever requirements they are trying to do.
Thank you. I just have to note that we have in the chat a nurse from Maryland who's just saying, as a nurse from Maryland, I just want to say it's so important to wear your mask even if you're vaccinated. So thank you. I appreciate the affirmation. We have some other questions about our arts students. Where will our art students be located while the Performing Arts Center is being renovated? Each of the departments has a new home, or I should say a temporary home. Dawn, do you want to share where some of those temporary sites will be?
Sure, and I will ask Dr. Bradley Brennan to join me as she worked hard on this.
Yeah, right.
I know that ABC, for the time being, will remain where they are in Rockefeller Fine Arts. Dr. Bradley Brennan, would you like to share the other locations of the other arts?
Certainly. So theater and performance faculty will be located in a suite in Rockefeller Hall. So if you're coming to see President Campbell, you can stop by and see the faculty in theater and performance. And their performance arena indoors will be Giles 106. And of course, they'll be making use of our beautiful campus for performances as well. For the music department, the music faculty will be in Milligan. They'll be on the second floor. So I will say, follow the sweet sounds of pianos in the air, and you will find your faculty. And the Glee Club faculty and staff will also be in Milligan. Glee Club will be taking over LLC2 auditorium, and music performance will be taking over LLC2 breakout rooms. And you can talk with your faculty in those departments for updates and specifics. And as President Campbell said, AVC, well, we are still trying to determine exactly where we can accommodate all the pieces, but until construction begins, they will be in Rockefeller Fine Arts. And finally, the Innovation Lab is going to be taking over the second or parts of the second floor of the Science Center. So if you're used to going to the General Computer Lab in Giles 230, now you're going to find that in the Ennis Cosby Reading Room, and you will be finding some very exciting programming in Science Center 230 coming from the Innovation Lab. I believe I've hit all of the occupants, but if I haven't, just let me know.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bradley Brennan. The next question I'm going to ask, I'm going to direct to Dana. There are a few questions that are coming in about our protocols. One is, where will the testing take place? And number two, if in fact somebody tests positive, how do we let others who may have been exposed know?
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. So with regards to the testing site for our people who are unvaccinated and those who are not fully vaccinated, which means they may be pending a second shot or they're in that 2-week window, they still need to be tested. They will be doing the rapid testing twice a week, and it's going to be held in the BDT. It's the BDT Suites, overflow room, meeting room. And then as far as the second question was, repeat the second question for me again, Dr. Campbell?
So if someone does test positive, how do we let others who may have been exposed to that student or faculty or staff know?
Got it. So basically for students who test positive, we're doing contact tracing, and our epidemiologist is doing the contact tracing. She then notifies me and health services of students who may have been exposed, and then we speak with those students and transport them to quarantine according to the CDC's protocols.
Thank you so much. So there was a related question that came in earlier about quarantine. So Dr. Holloman, do you want to share the plans that Spelman has made for those students who, if they test positive, have to be isolated, and those who may have been exposed would be quarantined? What are our plans for that?
Absolutely. We will have our quarantine and isolation locations are in 2 residence halls, Betsy Strong, and the other location is in McVicker. McVicker is next to the health clinic, and those will be the 2 designated areas to be able to, that we have identified as quarantine and isolation spaces.
Thank you. We're in the last 3 minutes of the town hall, and I did have a question about the Olive Branch event. And we have both Dr. Holloman and Dean Pettisclo here, and they're in charge of new student orientation. Can you share with us exactly what takes place? What are the requirements for the correct dress to wear for how will the event take place? Because it's a pretty important opening ceremony event, right?
Absolutely, extremely important. I will be concise to contain my excitement because we've totally revisioned how we do the program. I did see that comment about the dress. This is not one of the white white attire events. You can dress very comfortably for the event. You will actually be given an olive branch T-shirt, which is highly coveted on our campus. Typically, for those of you that have had this experience before, it has been in King's Chapel. But this year, based on wanting to do activities outdoors, it will be located at the Clark Atlanta Auditorium. So it will be outdoors. We'll have a program that's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. And then we're going to have a concert. It's going to be like a food festival. It's going to be completely different than what it has been in the past.
Thank you so much, Dr. Holloman. And we are right at 5:45. Thank you so much. We had lots of questions. We had over 700 and almost 750 people from time to time here. So we have lots of questions we haven't answered, but we promise you we will. As I said, I cannot wait to see all of you next week as you begin to come back to campus. Until then, be safe, be the light, and keep the faith. Good night.